And then under Section 64 and 65, Madam President, clear statutory timelines for reinspection and reopening. Section 64 gives Chief Inspector authority to issue immediate closure notices where imminent danger exists. While emergency intervention is necessary to prevent injury, Section 65 lacks clear post-closure timelines once the employer remedies the issue. If a business takes immediate corrective action to make its workplace safe, it should not remain closed indefinitely, waiting for an inspector to return. Every day of delay means lost revenues for the employer and lost wages for the workers. We call for statutory timelines that compel the inspectorate to reinspect a workplace within a prescribed time frame following notification that remedial work is complete, and render a formal determination on lifting the closure notice without delay. And of course, as we can appreciate here, Madam President, is that we don't want to have businesses close indefinitely or unreasonably long, because it hurts both the business, the company, and the worker. And I'm sure it's not the intention of the bill to create that type of onerous situation. Enforcement protections and privacy rights for domestic workers under Section 3, Madam President, extends the protection of this Act to domestic workers, subject to future regulations regarding constitutional privacy rights within private residences. And I think that Senator Faber has raised this, the issue on domestic workers a number of times in these sessions, as I can remember. We recommend the inclusion of domestic workers, however, leaving enforcement framework entirely to future unspecified regulations creates legal uncertainty for households and domestic workers alike. The draft is silent on entry warrants, resident consent, the rights of household members who are not the employer, and how broad Section 10 powers apply inside a private home. Without clear guidelines, we risk creating a rights conflict that leads directly to constitutional challenges. We recommend that the regulations governing domestic workers' safety be drafted concurrently with this legislation, explicitly addressing notice and consent procedures for entering private residences, alternative compliance mechanisms such as off-site interviews or documentation reviews, and clear boundary definitions balancing workplace safety with the constitutional right to privacy in one's home.